y'all, welcome back. Unless this is the first one you're watching, then welcome. Today I'm going to discuss the 45s I have, 7-inch singles. Back in the 80s when I got into music, we used to buy singles all the time at the record store. I think they were like $1, 45s. I was into a lot of like top 40 stuff back then, especially, and so you could go to the mall and go to the big wall they would have of singles and find pretty much whatever you were looking for. But I got rid of a lot of them years ago. I don't even remember, gave them away or something, because I used to take the sleeves, the picture sleeves, and I had at one point, I had them. I would put them up on my wall. I'd put like that sticky stuff on the back of them and hang them up on the wall. It'd be kind of like a cool, collage of all these 45 sleeves. So, if any of them were worth anything, they weren't now, because they had the stain from that little sticky, tacky stuff that you'd use. So I gave pretty much all of them away or got rid of them. But I held on to a few, and then I've picked up a couple of ones, like rarer ones, more recently. First up, Fear. This is for their single Neighbors, which this has a very kind of like interesting backstory. This came out, I think, in 2015, or 2015. I think 2015. Was it 2000? Yeah, 2015. The song Neighbors, though, is from 1981. It was supposed to be, or was going to be, the theme song for the John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd movie called Neighbors that came out in 1981. Belushi got really into punk music. He became a pretty big fan of Fear. He brought Fear into the discussion to have a theme song for the movie. The director, John Avildsen, was not on board. They cut this song, and Avildsen and the studio agreed that it wouldn't be in the movie, so it wasn't in the movie. It caused a lot of friction between them. And then years and years go by. I imagine maybe there were bootleg versions of it floating around. I don't think I'd ever heard it. But lo and behold, 2015, Adam Age Industries, which I don't know if Fear if that's their company or what, but they announced they were going to finally release it, and they'd gotten John Belushi's widow, Judy Belushi, had given them the okay. It's got the Fear version with Lee Ving singing vocals, and then it's also got the version where John Belushi actually sings the lead vocals. But it's kind of a cool punk song. It's kind of like, I bought this because I was a fan of Fear, a fan of Belushi, and thought it was kind of an interesting thing to pick up, So that's Fear, Neighbors. Next up, we have Van Halen, She's the Woman. You will get to know how much of a fan I am of the original Van Halen. I'm going to probably eventually do a whole bunch of videos dedicated to the various albums, CDs, imports, what have you. I have a Van Halen. There's lots. If you're not a fan, I guess it won't be of any interest to you. But anyway, so this they put out. This was from their 2012 album, Different Kind of Truth. It was released as part of a promotion. If you bought the vinyl, Different Kind of Truth, you got this as like a bonus thing. The B side of this is Dave doing a kind of like a little spoken word thing about the infamous brown M&Ms clause that they used to have in their contract. I got this off of eBay. I don't know, maybe a year or so after it came out. It goes for a decent amount of money, it seems, because it was limited. I don't know to how many. This isn't numbered, I don't think. But they only made X amount of copies of this, so the price kind of went up fairly quickly. But I got it. I think I got this for like 20. It cost like $20 and stuff. I used to collect a lot of Van Halen stuff. This might be the last thing that you would call a collectible that I've picked up from them. Those days are kind of behind me. Anyway, so this is Van Halen, She's the Woman single. So now I'm gonna try to cover 3 of these, because these I do recall. I bought these in the 80s, and I have memory of purchasing these all at Tower Records in New York City at 4th and Broadway. First time I ever went there was in like the mid 80s. Our art teacher in high school brought us there on a class trip, brought us to New York. We were supposed to be going to see like art galleries and stuff. The bus just pulled up and pretty much we were on our own. Me and my friend really had no interest in that, but there's all these great record stores down there, so that's where we hit up. And one of the first places we went was Tower Records. Walking in there the first time was just like awe-inspiring, you know, overwhelming. It was just, I loved that place. And these ones I remember that I got there. This is Sun City by Artists United Against Apartheid. This came out in '86. This was kind of, you know, there was that whole run of all these charity recordings that started with Band-Aid. And then, of course, We Are the World. This one, Steve Van Zandt organized to deal with the apartheid situation going on in South Africa, specifically the casino, Sun City. It did fairly well. I think I read that they raised like about $1 million for anti-apartheid projects. But, you know, some of the people on here, African Bambaataa is on here, Pat Benatar, Jackson Brown, Peter Gabriel, Run DMC is on here, Curtis Blow, Peter Wolf, Springsteen is on here, Lou Reed, Joey Ramone, tons of people. Great tune. I always like this. This might be my favorite of all those like 80s charity songs that were coming out. I think this is still my favorite one, Sun City. Also from that I remember picking up from Tower is Shriekback, Gunning for the Buddha. First saw Shriekback on a music video channel that we used to get called U68. I saw their video for the song Nemesis and it gave me nightmares. And but I liked the song and I kind of liked the group. And then this came out maybe a year or so after I saw that. And I picked this up. And this is something, again, like Tower in New York, you could find this. If I went to like the local mall where I live, I don't know that I would have been able to get this because, you know, it didn't, I don't think it charted or anything. But I always loved this tune. I really became a big fan of this band. They were really cool. Gunning for the Buddha, Shriekback. Odd quote on the back of the 45. If you see the Buddha on the road, kill him. I don't know that I've ever dug too deep into exactly the meaning behind that. But cool song, Shriekback, Gunning for the Buddha. And this is a bit of an oddity. And again, this is something that I was only going to find at Tower in New York. I wasn't going to find this at my local record store necessarily in the suburbs. It's Honeymooner Time by Jesse Goldberg. This was the official theme for the Ralph fan club, the fan club of the TV show The Honeymooners. This came out in '84. This, it's, you know, like a novelty tune, you know, released like independently and everything. But I was a big fan of The Honeymooners back in the '80s. I loved that show. I discovered it in the mid '80s and used to watch it every night. It was a funny show, still is a really funny show, but I remember picking this up at Tower, just, you know, as a goof or whatever, and it's you know, it's cool. It's, you know, goofy or what have you. But anyways, it's Jesse Goldberg's It's Honeymooner Time. Next up, we have Weird Paul, Beachball. Beachball. It's a 1-pack. I don't know when I came across Weird Paul. He has a very big presence on YouTube. He'd been like making videos in the 80s that are very similar to what people do now on YouTube. His channel's like, once you discover it, it's like a rabbit hole. You're just going to start watching. He's got tons and tons of videos up there. You can just kind of get sucked in, you know. And he's a cool dude, you know. I've had a couple exchanges with him, and he's very talented. Like, this is these songs, they're kind of like, you know, they're kind of goofy. They kind of remind you of like Ramones, like Dr. Demento kind of stuff. Weird Al, obviously, you know, and but they're really catchy, you know. And especially, this is my favorite song by him, Beach Ball. He put this out on a 45, and I just was like, yeah, let me pick that up. It's on colored vinyl. It's kind of orange color. It's got this, I guess it's like the lyric sheet. Yeah, it's like a lyric sheet on here. But, you know, it's always cool to help support independent artists, especially, you know, Weird Paul. I'm always down to help him out. You know, he's you know, a pretty interesting dude. You should check him out for sure. This is Beach Ball, Weird Paul. Next up, I've got U2, With or Without You from the Joshua Tree. I probably got this, you know, back then the singles would always come out a few weeks before the album. I know I picked up the Joshua Tree the day it came out. So I probably picked this up a few weeks before, and you can kind of see here's some residue of that sticky stuff I was talking about, where I'd have this up on the wall. If I remember correctly, every single that they released from Joshua Tree had B-sides that weren't on the album. This one has Luminous Times and Walk to the Water. So it's 2 songs on the B-side, which was kind of rare for, especially in the 80s, for 45s to have 2 tracks on the B-side. I love this song. I've never gotten sick of it. Some of the songs on Joshua Tree, Where the Streets Have No Name, or I Still Haven't Found What to Look For, they were good. I liked them, but I don't know, something, those songs, I feel like I don't need to hear them ever again. But With or Without You, which got just as much airplay as those, I've never gotten tired of it. I still like this song a lot. U2, With or Without You. This is King Holiday, officially credited to the King Dream Chorus and Holiday Crew. This was released in '86. This was to commemorate the first year that we celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday as a national holiday. And again, this is another one of those kind of charity all-star recordings. This one had El DeBarge, Whitney Houston, Lisa and Full Force, J.T. Taylor from Kool and the Gang, Stephanie Mills, New Edition, Curtis Blow, The Fat Boys, Grandmaster Melly Mel, Run DMC, Houdini. I think Curtis Blow was sort of like the guy behind this, if I'm not mistaken. I hadn't heard this in years, and I listened to it recently, and some of it is a little dated. Some of the songs a little dated, but it holds up. It's still pretty catchy. This version has a short version, which, they released as a single. I think it made it to the Billboard Top 40, I'm almost positive. The short version, though, is like 4.5 minutes. The long version is 7.5. So I'm curious. I should probably pop it on the turntable and take a listen to see how that long version sounds. This was put out by Egbert Records. It used to be out in Orange County in California. I picked this up directly from them. Now, what's interesting is that this appears to be like a sampler for their album Melody Fair, which was cover album of early Bee Gees tunes. Dramarama had a song on that. That's what this sleeve is for. But the actual 45 that I got from them is one side is Tie Me Down by Dramarama, but credited to like their alter ego, the Bent Back Tulips. And the other side is also by the Dramarama, Bent Back Tulips version, is The Last of the Famous International Playboys, which is a Morrissey cover. I have no idea why, when I got this from them, that they have this sleeve on the outside. I don't know what the story was behind that. Never found out. I don't know that I cared all that much, but kind of interesting having a Dramarama cover of a Morrissey tune. Now that I think about it, I may have gotten this for free because I bought the CD that Egbert put out, the Bent Back Tulips Looking Through CD. And when I ordered that, maybe they sent me this for free as just like a little bonus thing. Like, they're really cool, Egbert. So I could see them doing that. But now I think about it, that might be how I have this. If you've watched any of these episodes before, you've heard me talk about the Groove Shop in Norfolk, cool record store that I visited quite often when I was working down there. Bought a lot of stuff from them, including the Strokes Jukebox 7-inch. And the main reason why I bought this was because the B-side was a non-album song called Hawaii, which I really, really like. I heard it online somewhere years later, stumbled across this at the Groove Shop, and just decided to pick it up for sure. And there's a live version of Jukebox on here as well. But the main reason why I picked this up was for Hawaii. I can't imagine it cost too much at the Groove Shop. They always had really good prices. This I picked up at Waterloo in Austin. Good record store if you were there. There's a handful of good record stores in Austin. Got another one coming up in a minute. But this is The Bags Survive. I think this cost me like $8 or something like that. This was released on Danger House. The main reason why I picked this up was for Babylon Gorgon. I love that song. 78, The Bags, Alice Bags. She's still making music. She still puts out records. This was, I was in Waterloo looking around, picked up a few things, saw this, and just kind of felt like I'd like to own it. So picked it up. I did. The Bags Survive. And now we have All Is Love by Karen O. This was from the Where the Wild Things Are soundtrack. Picked it up on CD right when it came out. I mean, I love Karen O. I love the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I pick up pretty much anything that they release. And the soundtrack was really great. I just, not too long ago, actually finally got the vinyl version of it. I picked this up at AFK in Virginia Beach, down there working. Went in there, digging around, picked up one or two things, including this. And then the B-side Hideaway is really good too. I just love this album, Where the Wild Things Are, you know. And now I have a band I've never heard of before. I've never heard of since. 5 Ton Chicken. This is their cover of Everything Turns Gray by Agent Orange, one of my favorite bands. Picked this up at Anton's in Austin, Texas. Maybe $2. Bought it because it was a cover of Agent Orange song. I'd never really come across too many of those, and that's my favorite Agent Orange song, Everything Turns Gray. So it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna pick that up, be curious to see how it sounds. This came out in 2005. I listened to it when I picked it up was probably 2000, maybe 15. And I've listened to it, but I'll be honest, it's been a long time, and I'm not sure that I can even remember what I think about this version of Everything Turns Gray. But, you know, it's a cool thing to have. It didn't cost much, you know. Anton's is a cool store, you know. Have to throw them a couple of bucks, so I'm popping in there. My final 45. This is by ICU. My friend Memphis Mike is the drummer on this. Pee-wee, who I actually met her at an Agent Orange show at the Continental in New York years ago. She's really cool. They put this out. I think my buddy Mike actually gave me this. But she used to have her own record store over in Brooklyn that had a recording studio in there. This is cool. It's like hardcore, you know, great tunes on here. They do a cover of See Emily Play on here as well. This is actually a little bit of trivia. This record player that I got from my uncle, got it set up, receiver, speakers, everything. It's finally ready to go. Gonna try it out, test run. This is what I put on. This is the very first thing I ever played on that record player, ICU. But they're cool. Check it out. I don't know how difficult it is to find any of their stuff. I think they might be on Bandcamp. I'll put links below like usual. So you might be able to pick up some of their stuff through Bandcamp. But they're cool. If you like hardcore and stuff, definitely check them out. Friends of mine, ICU. That's my 45 collection. You know, I used to have tons of them, like I think I mentioned, and I can vividly picture in my head my, you know, wall in my bedroom with all the picture sleeves hanging up and everything. But you know, the days of buying 45s or 7 inches, you know, they're in the pasture. You know, I don't really see any, you know, big reason to be picking them up. If I see something that's kind of unusual, like the 5 Ton Chicken or something like that, you know, I might grab that if the price is right. But, you know, my days of buying 45s are long gone. But so anyways, thanks for watching, subscribe, all that stuff. Let me know what you think of any of these things. You know, if you have them or familiar with them, I'd love to hear your comments. Keep checking out the other shows, and, you know, see you next time.